Welcome back to Grammar Grade 12. This is Unit 5, Lesson 36, and today we're going to do something we haven't done yet. Lay all 6 tenses of one verb side by side and look at the whole system at once. You've met these tenses one at a time. Seeing them together is what finally makes them click, because each tense only makes sense next to the others. By the end of today, you'll be able to name any tense on sight, and, more useful still, choose the right one when the meaning depends on it. Let's dig in. Let's start by putting the whole system on one board. I'll take a single verb, paint, and run it through all 6 tenses, so nothing is hiding. First, she paints. That's the present. Second, she painted. That's the past. Third, she will paint. That's the future. Now the 3 perfect tenses, which are the ones students trip over. Fourth, she has painted. Has plus the past form gives you the present perfect. Fifth, she had painted. Had plus the past form gives you the past perfect. And sixth, she will have painted. Will have plus the past form gives you the future perfect. 6 forms, 1 verb. Notice how the helping words do all the work. Has, had, will have. Now let's say exactly what each one expresses, because that's the real lesson. Take the simple 3 first. The present tense carries 3 jobs at once. It names an action that is repeated, an action that is always true, or an action happening right now. She paints every Sunday. That's a repeated habit. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. That's a general truth, true yesterday and true tomorrow. Next, the past tense is the plainest of them all. The action already occurred and it's finished. She painted the barn last April. Done, closed, over. And then the third one. The future tense simply says the action will take place later, at some point that hasn't arrived yet. She will paint the porch this weekend. Now the 3 that need more care. The present perfect does 2 different jobs. Job 1. It names something that took place at an indefinite time in the past. She has painted 3 murals, and I'm not telling you when. Job 2. It names something that began in the past and is still going on right now. She has painted in that studio for 9 years, and she's in there today. Move on. The past perfect marks an action that began and ended before another past action. Both events are in the past, and this one is the earlier of the 2. She had painted the frame before the varnish arrived. And last, the future perfect marks an action that will begin and end before another future action begins. Both events are still ahead of us. She will have painted the mural by the time the gallery opens. Here's the good news. Sentences leave fingerprints. Certain words point straight at a tense, and once you know them, you can often decide before you've finished reading. Words like every day, usually, and always announce a habit, and a habit is the present. Words like yesterday, last night, or in 1969 pin the action to a closed moment, and that's the past. Words like tomorrow, next week, and soon push the action forward, and that's the future. Words like since, so far, already, and ever reach back from now into unfinished territory. That's the present perfect. And the biggest fingerprint of all, the words before and by the time sitting beside a second event almost always call for a perfect tense. Past perfect if both events are behind you, future perfect if both are ahead. Now, let's work the 2 contrasts that cause the most trouble, starting with present against present perfect. Look at this. She paints in that studio. That's the present, and it tells you what is true right now, or what she does habitually. But it says absolutely nothing about how long. Now compare. She has painted there since 2017. That's the present perfect, and hear what it adds. It reaches backward. It says the painting started at a point in the past and is still true today, stretching all the way to this moment. So here's the rule of thumb worth keeping. If the sentence measures a stretch of time that reaches up to now, since, for, so far, you want the present perfect, not the plain present. The second contrast is past against past perfect, and it's really a question about order. Picture two things that both already happened. One of them happened first. Here's the later of the two. The varnish arrived. That's plain past. It's the event we're using as our reference point. And here's the earlier one. She had painted the frame. That's the past perfect, and the had is doing something specific. It's stepping the action back, saying this finished before that other past thing even started. Put them together and the order is unmistakable. She had painted the frame before the varnish arrived. So the rule is short. When two events are both in the past, the earlier one takes had. The later one stays plain past. Use had for both, and you flatten the sequence and lost the meaning. Let's turn all of that into a method you can actually run under pressure. There are only two questions. Question 1, when did it happen? Place the action on a line. Is it now, before now, or after now? That single move already sorts you into the present family, the past family, or the future family. Question 2, and this is the one that picks the perfect tenses. Was the action finished before some other point in time? If the answer is no, you want a simple tense, present, past, or future, plain and clean. If the answer is yes, you want a perfect tense. And now you just choose which one. Finished before a past point? That's had, the past perfect. Finished before a future point? That's will have, the future perfect. Finished at some vague time before now, or still running? That's has or have, the present perfect. 2 questions, 6 tenses, no guessing. Shall we try some? In this first set, I'll give you a sentence, and your job is simply to name the tense of the underlined verb. Look at the helping word and look for the signal words. Pause the video and decide before I reveal each answer. By noon, the caterers had unloaded every crate. Look at the verb, had unloaded. That helping word had is your fingerprint. It steps the action back before another point already in the past. The unloading finished before noon arrived. So this one is the past perfect. Our neighbor has collected sea glass for 20 years. The verb is has collected. Has plus the past form. And notice the phrase for 20 years. It measures a stretch of time that started back then and reaches right up to today. He is still collecting. That combination is the present perfect. The ferry will have docked before the storm reaches shore. The verb is will have docked. Will have is the signature of only one tense, and the sentence backs it up. The docking finishes before the storm gets here, and both of those events are still ahead of us. So this verb is the future perfect. This set is harder and more useful. Now the meaning decides. I'll describe the sequence, and you choose the tense that carries it correctly. Pause and commit to an answer before I explain. She blanked that trail every October since her first hike. Look at that little word, since. It plants a starting point in the past and drags the action forward to today. She started then, and she's still doing it. The plain present would miss the history, and the past would close it off. The answer is has hiked, the present perfect. The bread blank before we even sat down to eat. Count the events. Sitting down is in the past, and the cooling is also in the past. But the cooling happened first, before we ever sat. When two past events need an order, the earlier one takes had. So the answer is had cooled, the past perfect. By the time you land, I blank the whole apartment. Both of these events are still ahead of us. You haven't landed, and I haven't cleaned. But the cleaning has to be finished before the landing happens. Will clean would only say it happens sometime later. It wouldn't promise it's done first. To finish one future action before another future action begins, we need will have cleaned, the future perfect. Let's gather up the whole system. First, the simple three. The present names something repeated, always true, or happening right now. The past names an action that already occurred. And the future names one that will take place later. Second, the perfect three, each of which leans on another moment. The present perfect covers an indefinite past time or an action still continuing. The past perfect ends before another past action, and the future perfect ends before another future action begins. And third, the method that ties it together. Ask when it happened, then ask whether it finished before some other point. Those two questions will carry you through almost every tense decision you'll ever face. In our next lesson, lesson 37, we'll add two more tools to the verb, the progressive and the emphatic forms, the ones that let you say what was going on and what really did happen. I'll see you there.